So a lot of my childhood life was filled with drugs and alcohol. I come from South Louisiana, and if you know anything about Louisiana, you know it's the second poorest state in the United States. There's a lot of illegal activity, and I, was raised in the deeper South. My grandpa made moonshine and homemade wine. He sold the pot that my uncle grew, and my mom was a drug addict. My dad was a meth cook, and I didn't really have a fighting chance. I used to sneak his wine when I was 7 or 8 years old, and cigarettes, I'd pick them up off the ground and smoke them. And so 11 years old, I was introduced to hard drugs. I met methamphetamine for the first time. Inside of our little world, our bubble, it was hell. It was a living hell. And in our home was mental, physical, verbal, emotional abuse all the time. And as I got older, it escalated. So by the time I was 12 years old, they started going through a divorce. My mom had moved us about 5 townhouses over to a drug house, and she was incoherent all the time. And I was, 12 years old, getting strung out. Right after that, I was sent back to my grandparents in Texas and got home and realized that my grandpa had cancer. He had just found out he had cancer. And so basically I was left to my own devices again. And I watched the only man that I ever loved in my whole entire life waste away and die. Because he'd say, if God wants to heal me, he'll heal me. And if he wants to take me, he'll take me. And in my little 12-year-old mind, who would take the most amazing man off the face of the planet? And so if there is a God, he doesn't like me very much. And so it was easier to just assume that there wasn't one, because then he didn't have to be like everybody else in my life and not like me or not care about me. And so we fast forward till I was 18, and I am a full-fledged junkie. I get pregnant with my oldest daughter. By the time I was 22 years old, I had 3 kids. My middle 2 were given up for adoption at birth. If you asked me then, I was doing what was best for them, right? And ask me now, I did do what was best for them, but really I gave myself an avenue to get high, is really what it was. It was 2-part. I didn't have to have the responsibility of a child that I really couldn't take on because I had nothing for myself, and I had a superior reason to stay messed up, because this grief, that I had in me. And so by the time I'm 23, I am married into the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. I'm running drugs for the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas through 3 different states, and I got arrested in Nacogdoches County. I made the news. I got bailed out. I was on the run from Nacogdoches County and was wanted by the Texas Rangers, the U.S. Marshals, and the FBI. And that went about 10 months, and I got tired of running. So I turned myself in, and I did some time. I was probably about 26 or 27 when I decided I wasn't going to get high anymore. I called it clean or sober at that time, but really I wasn't doing hard drugs. I still smoked marijuana and I drank, all the time. And that went on for a few years. And then I had my youngest daughter, who just turned 7 on the 23rd of May. And she was about 1.5 years old when I relapsed. And so I would drive around with a baby in the back seat, smoking meth. And that's how I justified it. My daughter didn't pay. I wasn't leaving her all over the place. I was, she was always with me and I was taking care of her. But really I wasn't. And it was about 6 months later that DSS stepped in and they tested Rebel's hair, and she come back positive for methamphetamine contact. And they took her, and you'd think I would have been able to get my life together. But I was already on this downward spiral. I think I had given up Because at that time, but I've been living this life for a long time. I don't know any other way. And so I went another year, got arrested again in Horry County, made the news again. Was in jail for about 25 days. And Rebel's birthday was coming up, and that was in April and May of 2022. And I remember begging the solicitor, I've never missed her birthday, I've been doing good. The solicitor pulled some strings and got me out for my daughter's birthday, and by that night I was high again. And so the next day, the DSS caseworker showed up, could tell I was, messed up, told me I had to go. And when I got out of jail the last time, I had nothing. I had no money, I had no phone, I had no vehicle, I had no job, I had no place to live. I was homeless on the streets of Myrtle Beach, living in parking garages and couch surfing and sometimes old abandoned hotels. And I reached a point where I didn't want to live anymore. And so my DSS caseworker called me one day, and she said, here's the deal, we're going to give Rebel up for adoption. And she was like, we're tired of messing with you. And basically I was tired of messing with myself. I was tired of living. I was tired of feeling that I didn't see any hope. There was no hope. And hope had been, gone from me for a long time. And as much as I loved that kid, I didn't love her enough to put the pipe down. That's all I had to do, and I couldn't do it. And I would love to say that getting that phone call was like, yeah, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go do the right thing. But if that were the case, I would have done that when they took her. I had to think about it. And so I agreed to go to treatment, because it was, once again, I got sent to another place in North Myrtle, and I was in their bathroom smoking meth, and then he tested me, a drug test on the spot, and I failed for all kinds of stuff. And it was the first time in a long time I had been completely honest. And we were in that room, and we were talking, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, you need to go to treatment. And I was like, okay, I'll go to treatment. And then I go home and I wait for treatment to call me. It was like 3 weeks later, and my caseworker called, and she's like, well, have you found anywhere? And I was like, I thought they were supposed to call me. And she's like, Brandi, that's not how it happens. She's like, you have to have insurance, you got to find treatment. And called, and I got Medicaid, and we started looking around for treatment centers. And she called me and told me about the Chrysalis Center. The Chrysalis is a great program because it's a mommy and me, and there's not many mommy and me programs anywhere near here. And I was like, well, maybe if she can come with me, it won't be so hard and it won't be so scary. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And then she's like, you got to call. So I started calling, and there was kind of a mix-up between her talking to Miss Thelma and me talking to Miss Thelma. And we thought we were just supposed to show up. We had already got the assessment done. And we get here, and there was already a vehicle out there, and it was packed with tons of stuff. And Miss Thelma was looking at us like we were crazy. And she walked up to the car, and my caseworker, Miss Sweet, started talking to her. And Miss Thelma was like, no, there's a process. And I remember in that driveway out there, it had been a long time since I prayed. And I prayed, I said, if you'll just give me a chance. Because it had been so long since anybody had ever given me a chance, even myself included.
When Brandi came, and we were not expecting her, we figured out a way, because we knew she wouldn't come back if we turned her away. And I knew we had to make it happen. The Chrysalis Center, of course, is part of Circle Park, and we're a unique, very unique facility. We have 16 private rooms where women can come and bring their under school age children. A lot of the women, when they come, they're pregnant. The women usually are good women. They've just gone on the wrong path. We get the opportunity to help them to gain a job one day, to help them gain just living again. They've lost it. When they come in, they're just totally broken, like Brandi was. And she was a fighter. Brandi was a true fighter. And she just needed someone to give her a chance.
Because I was willing to fight for myself, they were willing to go to whatever ends for me. Being here and being given responsibility and being trusted, I found a calling. So I am a peer navigator at MUSC Hospital, working in the ED. When anyone comes in with substance or alcohol abuse issues of any kind, we get flagged and we go in and we basically meet them where they're at their lowest point, and we talk to them and we try to get them services, either with Circle Park or otherwise. So my 20-year-old started speaking to me, told me that something had changed and that I was different, and she calls me Mom. So we talk, on a pretty regular basis. I mean, as much as, a 20-year-old's gonna talk to their mom. But she knows that she can come to me, and when she has issues, she asks me for help, and I am, even though she's in Texas, I'm able to, send money in to help her. She's in college to be a nurse right now, and she's taking care of her grandfather who has lung cancer, doing all the adult things. And then my third child, who will be 17 next month, who lives in Utah with her adoptive family, is ready to initiate a meeting. She's expressed wanting to meet me and know who I am, and I am finally at a point in my life where I can answer all of her questions, because I know she must have many questions, that I can answer them truthfully and honestly, and hopefully gain some kind of relationship there too. And as far as Rebel goes, we have a great relationship. I'm a very present parent now, and I'm really in love with my life today. Very proud of myself.
She drove up in her pretty, brand new car.
Yes, and and I really just wanted y'all to know that, like, every once in a while there is one of us.
Yes.
That makes all the rest of it worth doing. Right? There's nothing that the world loves more than an underdog, somebody who wasn't supposed to make it, who was not supposed to come out on the winning end, fight through adversity and everything that was supposed to kill them and make something of themselves.
It's when you see a before picture and an after picture, that's your reward every day. We could not make it if it were not for our community partners.
Exactly.
We could not do it without United Way. They are vital to Chrysalis being open today. They coordinate everything with all the nonprofits in the community. We're not the only ones. We're not the only organization that the United Way helps. People today don't realize that it does matter to donate and to help. And so please don't stop donating. Please help us. Please help us to help these ladies to be leaders.